IVM.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Geek Fruit with fellow and television geeks Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar as they discuss the world of science fiction and nerd culture.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello, welcome guys. Happy New Year. It's a new day, it's a new year, and here we are back again together to do this show, and I'm back again hosting, but we're not in the studio. But I think that's not the main issue here, and that's not the problem, because what matters is that we are all three back again on the show, like good old times. Now, I was on a break for Christmas, and we were kind of a bit lazy as well in some of the days, and some of the other days we could not get you the show, but here we are. I had a great, I would say a brilliant, a decent and a good 2017 that went by, not just for our individuals, but also for as a whole for Indian football, including India hosting the first ever FIFA World Cup. Now, all of that we're going to look at, and we're also going to end the show with looking what are we expecting from the year ahead. Now, I have both of them, as I said, joining Chiranjeev and Kevin. How's the new year, guys? I'm sure the celebration will go into probably 3 more weeks of this month.
Yeah, this has been such a roller coaster year for Indian football, right? With the FIFA Under-17 World Cup, we had the drama around ISL I-League merger. We had ISL FC just rising up and upsetting all the plans to win the I-League and everything. It has been a year full of surprises, basically. On the first, I remember we did our first show on YouTube. Like, we were on Savan for more than a year, and we moved our show to YouTube and all podcasting apps in January 2017. And I remember you guys
around 3rd or 4th of January.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember one of the first words uttered on that was Kevin saying, what we're looking forward to is the last season of I-League. And, turns out it wasn't the last season of I-League. We were not thinking in any way ISL FC would win the league, or things would turn out the way they did throughout the year. But it happened. India national team went unbeaten. I think we are just, it's a testament to what a difference a year makes. We're living in a very different reality in Indian football, just about 350 and odd days after the day we started this journey.
So if I had to ask you the 3 or 5 best moments of 2017 in terms of winning football, and you looked at them individually and spoke about it, wrote about it, what were your best moments from 2017?
I think firstly, if you do want to say, the best moment was Azol winning, but that didn't come overnight, and that didn't come with one victory or a couple of moments. It was a consistent performance by an Azol team which continued to surprise everybody from the start of the league. They just kept everyone on their toes. Everybody was waiting for Azol to drop points, and they did drop points. It wasn't a perfect season for them, but overall, looking at how they perform against the better sides that were tagged to be the champions, they were expected, they were the favorites, and they just toppled them over with their consistent performance. I think that was the best moment for Indian football. At least it was more of no pressure on themselves, but yet I think they delivered. I think that, for me, that was the best moment for Indian football. And followed by that moment, obviously, is the Indian national team performing. The series of good results, that the Constantine was able to get out of almost a very young side. Now we did see Sunil Chetri leading from the front, and we've seen Sandesh Jhingan emerging as a good leader. And the tri-series obviously showed us how he can be influential, how he can be a young leader. And these are the things that Indian football need going forward. The young guys, showing what their mettle is. And that was, I think, these are the two best things that happen in Indian football. At least we got to see what Indian football can be made of at the national league and even at the national level.
Chiranjeev, if I had to ask you on a scale of 1 to 10 to rate like how the year was for Indian football, what would your rating be?
Plus minus root 30.6, something like that. It's very hard to rate this year because everything just was off the charts. It completely defied all expectations. We had a beautiful World Cup. We had isolation. We just keep coming back to that whole what happened on the pitch thing, but also off the pitch, seismic shifts happened. And we had the federation officials talking with AFC and FIFA throughout the year. We had the permutations and combinations, the joint task force, the visits to different things. We had a very important decision. I think one of the decisions that will be that the ramifications of which will be felt later was to hold ISL and I-League simultaneously. What this does is that ISL monopolized the market, obviously, as everybody expected. They held a draft. IMG Reliance took all the established players, and this left I-League clubs with the task of creating their own good players. New players got a chance. Suddenly, ever since we had ISL coming in, it shortened the pool of professional players, top-level professional players that we had in India. So many clubs died, and the same players played in ISL and I-League, which meant from 14 I-League clubs, it was like 14 into 20. It went down to 14 into 9 or 14 into 20. It went down to 9 into 20 or 9 into 10 overall. We did lose some 150 players from the pool, active players. But now that ISL and I-League both are happening simultaneously, new players are coming out in the I-League. We have the Arrows team performing so well, the under-17, under-18 players proving this. They're the 7th in the table. They've not lost their last 2 matches. They just held Mohun Bagan to a draw. Shillong Lajong, Aizawl FC, Minerva Punjab, all surprising everybody with their new sets of players. Neroka as well. Like they're playing with new players a lot. Like half the team is filled with players who have never played in the top division before.
Since you mentioned it, they're placed at the third in the points table.
Haven't lost the last 5 matches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have suddenly the player pool has doubled, and because of this, we will see the results coming in the 3-4 years later. So it's very hard to judge 2017 now. I think it will be appropriate to look back at 2017 5 years later and say, okay, this is how that year changed Indian football.
Mm-hmm. So I think fair point there, just to go back, what Chiranjeev mentioned was not, if you look back at 2017, it was not just on the field actions. And I want to stress upon this point that he made, that there were much more off the field actions as well. Talks behind the doors between top officials about a lot of things, whether it is about the World Cup that we hosted or the other merger happenings, or even the small cameo that the High Court played, the Supreme Court played, and all of these were kept the fans hooked on to their seats throughout the year for Indian football. But again, coming back to now, the 2 things that we're looking at, which continues to 2018, is also the league, right? ISL and I-League. I mean, till November 3rd week, we didn't know if I-League would start or not. And it did. And
who would have thought? Surprise, it started.
Absolutely. And for the first time in, I think, this is the 4th season of ISL. Yeah, so in first time in 4 years, we would see ISL going beyond December. We will see it continue till March. So a lot of new things happening, and just like Chiranjeev said, probably this year would be the start of the progress that we or the rewards that we would seek from what 2017 gave us. We start from 2018 and we look forward to. And now it begins, how do we see and how do we judge? Did the year actually play a part I think it's the beginning. So coming to the two leagues that are happening at the moment, ISL and I-League. I mean, ISL a late Kickstarter in terms of intensity, level of competition, and a bit of quality on the field. Whereas I-League from the first match itself gave us some mouth-watering clashes, irrespective of whether it was a big team or the small teams. And one point I want to stress upon in terms of I-League is that people thought, and everyone, including me, before the league started, thought there are two teams, clear-cut favorites, East Bengal and Mohun Bagan. But now we see a race. Now we see competition. There are lower ranked teams like new teams like Neroka or Kerala or Indian Arrows, for that matter, are fighting, are getting draws or goalless draw against top teams. So a lot of interesting stuff is happening. Coming to ISL, the reason I said it was a slow start, I mean, we were all bored in the initial stages where goalless draws, sad games, and just bad refereeing. So coming to you, Kevin, at this moment, ISL looks very interesting, because if I look at the points table, there's a sudden shift. I mean, your top 5 has Chennai sitting on top, then followed by Pune, and then comes BFC, Mumbai, and Goa. I mean, there's completely, when you look at this table, you not even believe what was the run of, victories for certain teams. And I mean, it's just crazy how it is going forward.
Yeah, it really looked like there would be some, the ones which have been doing well will continue. But then again, this is not, it's a franchise-based system, and then after the draft, you're really not sure what pickings you had will really deliver. And that just goes by this, by how Delhi Dynamos are performing. We looked at them and we looked at the squad. They look very strong on paper. FC Goa also look very strong, but see the difference of deliverance from both teams. One team is there at the top and the other at the other end. And that just makes you sure that getting in the best of talents will not guarantee results. It obviously will, come down to how the team is managed, how these teams are, how these players are played in the best of positions. Sometimes even playing them in off positions works best for the team. So it's all a matter of combination, getting a combination right. But it's been a healthy mix so far. Bengaluru FC also started on a very bright note, but they started to lose the charm a bit, and then dropping points here and there. One goal margin. The goalless draws being converted into losses by 1-0 margins. So this takes to show you that ISL also can be, that one tournament where your expectations are defied. You always tend to look at one team being very strong, and on that night, just look at Jamshedpur. They've done things consistently, but then it's on the defensive side, not on the offensive. But yet they were able to get a couple of at least 2 or 3 victories. That they were not the best team on the field, but then football is that way. Whoever scores so most goals is the winner for that night. And so just comparing that to the previous seasons, now that the season is a longer one, you do get to shuffle your players. You get to rotate the injured ones. So there is a balance in the side. If there are weaknesses that can be hidden, it is because of the longer season. And this is all because we've seen a bigger pool of players, like TFG was talking. It just gives the teams more opportunities, more options to try out things, and obviously there is, at the end of it, there is an AFC cup spot to play for. So it just we've not even reached half of the season, but we've seen a lot of action, end-to-end action. Sometimes expectations of from the best of teams have been dashed. Expectations from the weaker teams that continue to go down. But I think it will be a change. This is not final. What we've seen, Delhi Dynamos and Northeast United will bounce back. We've seen in the longer season, so it tends to change when your players do get injuries, and But overall, I think this is a much, much better season. The start obviously was not the best for ISL, getting in a lot of goal draws, but the season is coming back to its peak right now.
Yeah. Now, just like a similar question that I asked to Kevin, coming to you. I mean, looking at the points table at the moment, would you even believe, if you were somebody who is not regularly following ISL, saying, if I would say that, and there was a moment where BFC were on a winning run, Pune had a slow start, Mumbai were not performing up to the mark, or Goa was in a five goals scoring spree. And now you look at the points table, it's suddenly changed by just within a month. At the end of 2017, it's something different altogether.
Yeah, well, you look at the points table, and it's the top the top 5 teams are separated by 4 points, and Goa have played 2 matches less than the others, so they still have enough time to just claim the top of the table. Yeah, not that it matters that much. Even ATK have played just 6 matches with 2 wins, rather scrappy but hopeful wins on their back. They are slowly coming back up, and they can go up to 14, and that breaks them into the top 4 potentially. Yeah. So, well, of course, they have to play Bengaluru and Northeast United away from home. The next 2 matches are pretty tough. So, here we have, of course, Northeast United 4-match losing streak, but I don't know what they're doing.
Before that, they are playing Goa also. So
yeah, they're playing Goa Saturday. Tough times for them. But just look at the way, I think ISL has always given us a very tight top 4 race, and it's a shame that we don't have a title race here, because that would be so mouth-watering. You would see teams really go ahead and do it. But I think the team to watch out for is Pune City. Mumbai City had some solid foundation built last season. Bengaluru FC retained as much of their players as they could legally, given ISL's weird rules. FC Goa looked great on paper. We expected them to put on a great show. Chennai FC as well. I'm not sure how long they will be able to keep this up. But they are getting some. They do seem to have a nice balance. They're not scoring as many goals as, let's say, Goa or Pune or Bengaluru, but their defense is just making up for that, and they have kept that balance going, which is why they are for now top of the table. So these teams we expected to do well. Pune City's rise has been a little bit sneaky, and it has depended on some particular players firing well. And I talked about, like, from last season, we were owed some great performance by Alfaro. He's doing well. Marcelinho is doing well. 5 goals to both. Ashik Kurunian just scored a goal in the last match, and I was so happy. I think the Pune City management is very happy as well, because they've been pushing him over the last 3 years. They bet on him to really rise up and perform well at the highest level, and he's doing that finally. So it's I think if you want to talk about January, Pune City is the team to watch out for, because they're the ones who are going to spoil a lot of big teams' plans. And we're talking about Pune City and Northeast United, who have never made it to the top 4. It seems like at least one team is on its way to fulfill that dream, unless something really unfortunate happens and they go on a losing streak in the next few matches.
Yeah, well, I think we should wrap up the first half of the year, taking a short break. Now, on the other side, we'll talk about I-League, the way it's going, and we shall assess that, how it has been so far, including the matches that we have seen, and we also preview them, and also ending the show of what we are expecting from the year ahead. All is fair on the other side of the break.
Hi, I'm Amit Verma, the host of the weekly podcast, The Seen and the Unseen. In my show, I examine the seen effects and the unintended consequences of public policy and private action. I show how policies meant to help the poor often end up hurting the poor. I've done episodes so far on demonetization, GST, surgical strikes, immigration and MRP. And I will continue my forensic assault on the truth in the weeks to come.
Catch the show every Monday on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you prefer. Or visit sceneunseen.in for all the latest updates.
Welcome back, guys, and here we are. Just to tell you what did we do in the first half. We look back on 2017 of what all it gave us, some memorable moments in the Indian football. And we also spoke about how the leagues are going by. We stressed upon ISL, how it has been interesting, though it had a slow start. Now it's time to look at I-League. Just like I mentioned when I was talking about both the leagues and how interesting this has been, how interesting it has been, and how we are seeing new heroes being born, new teams being born and providing us more and more players. A bigger pool, I think we should agree. Here, this proves that what Sunil Shetty, our captain, once said that before the league could start, if two leagues happen at the same time, one good thing happening is that we'll see more players, we'll see more employment for them. I think that's one good thing that we're looking at. Now, coming to I-League, certainly let's begin with you. How, I mean, if it was a show, it would have been the most best rated show at the moment. With a lot of entertainment, keeping you till the end and keeping you hooked on till the end. What a way, right? I mean, who thought Minerva would actually dominate from the start and probably sit at top of the points for some time now. They're sitting in the second, and a good performance from the new teams as well.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why this league has become so open is that the big teams are no longer holding on to their established players. The highly paid, well-known faces have mostly gone to ISL, and everybody has to start from scratch. And here, clubs like Minerva Punjab, Aizawl FC, Shillong Lajong, even Neroka to some extent, have a little bit of an advantage that they are keeping most of their players. They were already dependent on coming up with new players, looking at the youth system, promoting young players to the first team, and making do at the top division. While East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, and even Chennai City to some extent. Chennai City borrowed players from ISL. I think the crux of the team was formed with loaned players. So East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, the big names basically were always dependent on their star names. And this time those Indian stars were no longer available with them. So even they were supposed to play the game these other clubs were playing. So it has been a great equalizing factor, which has completely forced every club to really step up their game in terms of bringing up new players. And look at what has happened. I don't really see anybody that much off the mark right now. Aizawl FC can claim the top any moment. Minerva Punjab have just lost one match, but who knows, they might resume their winning run. East Bengal are at the top of the table. They're playing Indian Arrows today. Who knows how that's going to go down. Of course, if you're listening to this after 4 p.m. on 2nd January, go to thefangarage.com to find out what happened in that match. We have Mohun Bagan playing Chennai City as well. It seems like so many things are happening in this league. It's a discovery for me. I-League this season is a discovery because there are so many new players, so many new clubs, so many different dimensions are being brought into this game because of this. And of course, we're not going to talk about Churchill Brothers because, what are you doing, Leah? So all of that is just feeding into this new thing that I-League has become. Maybe it's the last season. Maybe we'll have one more season, depending on how the negotiations go. But yeah, if you are a hardcore follower of Indian football, this league gives you more information than any other league in recent memory. Any other season, basically. Just the amount of new things that has come up.
Absolutely. Kevin, how interesting it has been for you in terms of I-League, and especially your team now sitting at the points table on the 4th position, sharing 10 points along with Bagan.
Kevin is wishing I-League at a semi-final and final right now, because then 4th position would matter a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think for me, what's the most striking feature of I-League this season, it's the quality of football that we've seen. Even considering Chennai City, the way they've played, I think they can just match up to even one of the mediocre teams that are playing in the ISL. So by the sheer way of passing the ball around and even creating those attacks, we've seen them grow. So that is the best part of even having a side that is not exposed to the highest level of competition, but yet they are able to understand the mistakes, understand where the flaw is in the defense, in the midfield, and where even in the offense. So that has been a learning for every club in the I-League, and they've just gotten better. So this Minerva Punjab is an example. The way they started off a very high note, and then slowly getting into the groove, and then the test off against one of the better teams that were considered last season. And just the way, even if you look at Churchill Brothers, it's not the whole wrong that has gone with them. It's just that it's the process of finding out where your errors are. Once you get to that, I think they should be on track. But that could be the end of the season that they're back on track as well. But I think even the second part about I-League is there's not a single consistent performer. It's the team effort that's coming in. You can never say that this guy or that guy is the one who's getting in the goals and he will be the one going forward. You're seeing so many different goal scorers. It's not a one-man dependent team or a club. It's the performance that's coming on overall. That's the beauty about I-League this year, and this is what we were never really hopeful for. The big names, the talking points will be the one who will be taking all the limelight. But it's the ones whom we did not look at. Look at Chencho. Nobody thought that this guy is going to be the one who's making all the news. We're not talking about Sony Noraya. We're talking about a team that was bottom last season, and this is where they've come up to. They get in couple of good signings, and they're able to combine that well. So again, looking at Shillong Lejong, Azol FC, they've lost so many of their players. They just emptied the entire team, and yet they are able to grind out the performances that has really put them up in the mid-table or just close to the top table. So this, for me, is the best part. The quality of football, the quality of even the management of how the teams have been managed. Thankfully, there haven't been too many injuries except for a couple of rare tackles. But the way football is played in the I-League, it's very entertaining. Entertainment is being talked about in the ISL teams, but I think entertainment factor in the I-League has been the best that we've seen, at least in the recent times.
But I don't really think at this point ISL is that far behind, because we just saw the Bengaluru versus Kerala Blasters game happened in Kochi, and what an entertaining match that was. So ISL teams, as the stakes are becoming clear, they are stepping up, and I think this is a direct result of having the top four system. You're not fighting to become champions; you're just fighting to make the top four, and that sets you apart mentally, because you're not targeting that top position. The stakes are lower in the league stage. But as the individual rivalries sort of come to the fruition, like Kerala Blasters versus Bengaluru FC, or Chennai FC versus Kerala Blasters, or even FC Goa versus somebody else. So it sort of becomes the match itself becomes important, or you're looking at the points table and you're thinking, if we don't win this one, we're gonna fall apart from the top four pack or something like that. We need to consolidate our position here or there. So yeah, that's how slowly we're seeing the cream coming up in ISL and the fight emerging. I-League, obviously, it's been full of surprises. It's still going to be full of surprises. But just look at, so many things are happening off the pitch as well. I mean, you talk about a meritocratic top division. This is what it does. ISL would never give us Aizawl FC or Shillong Lajong or Neroka. Those clubs would never make it into a money league. But we are having matches in Shillong, we are having matches in Aizawl, new matches in Manipur, Imphal. I was just there. I missed a match, but I went around the city. Everybody is buzzing about the league. Everybody is buzzing about the team, the whole campaign that's coming forward. And they're getting more than 20,000 people in the stadium on weekdays at 2 p.m. Weekdays at 2 p.m. You think the big spenders are gonna get that much if they're playing on weekdays during working hours? They're not gonna get that kind of crowd. So see the passion, the real passion, which did not get a platform so far, are slowly being are slowly coming up to the top. As it happens, if you have a meritocratic league, you slowly have the best clubs, the best possible fan bases making themselves heard at the highest level. Indian Arrows is another lesson why a league like I-League is so important, is because Indian Arrows is never going to happen in a league like ISL. And we have them playing at 2 p.m. consistently at weekdays in Ambedkar. It's a new team. It's got no known faces. Yeah, there's some familiar faces after the Under-17 World Cup, but there are no stakes for this team. You're just going there for the players. Still, they're getting, some people are slowly turning up. I think if they're playing at 8 p.m., I don't know why they're being forced to play at 2 p.m. It doesn't make any sense, because Ambedkar has floodlights. You can easily hold it at 8 p.m. On the days when ISL is not happening. But yeah, it is what it is. They're playing at 2 p.m. But still, you have the Delhi Brigade of Blue Pilgrims trying to turn up in support. And also, all that talk that we have heard about the I-League clubs not focusing on infrastructure and all of that, and I think ISL happening, ISL coming up and stepping up the game, like having a team like Jamshedpur FC, which is properly bottom up. For the first time, I think ISL has a team that's bottom up in terms of development. They have a stadium, they have had a academy for years. Now they have a first team, and they're getting good crowd. See, these kind of examples that are happening in ISL, or also the ISL teams fielding B-sides in second division league. They're finally joining the under 15, under 18 youth leagues. So the youth development side is growing exponentially in ISL. All of that is forcing clubs like East Bengal and Mohun Bagan to really look at themselves, what they're doing, and look at what it has given us. East Bengal have just installed floodlights in the stadium. They're going to play matches in their own stadium in near future. Mohun Bagan moved to their own stadium. For the first time in the top division, a club hosted a match in a stadium owned by itself, a historic occasion. And on the last work day of the year, if you are in a government job or a corporate job or something like that, you cannot miss work on that day. That day you had like some 16,000 people showed up at 2 p.m. To watch Mohun Bagan play Indian Arrows. Wasn't a great result for Mohun Bagan, but you can see the enthusiasm. Today we're gonna see them play under floodlights, Mohun Bagan versus Chennai City, and you will see an even bigger crowd show up. So see, these kind of things, I think this is what ISL has done. It has made all the I-League clubs step up their games, and in the end, what happens is that Indian football benefits from this. Yes, ISL is still being given the preference by Star Sports. Yes, I-League clubs are still being given a stepfatherly treatment. Yes, most of the I-League clubs will still get relegated. That's as bad as it ever is. But I'm just glad that this pressure situation has showed us what these clubs can do in terms of developing players, in terms of focusing on infrastructure and improving their conditions at the club. So, yeah, for now, I think we're just reaping the benefits, and we're going to see the ramifications of this for years to come. So yeah, Mohan Bagan versus Chennai City today. My goodness.
Yeah. Now coming back to Indian Arrows, we won't see now Dheeraj Singh, their keeper, in action again for them. He had taken to Facebook to officially announce that the match that Indian Arrows play against Mohan Bagan would be his last, and what a great performance the team had against Mohan Bagan, a 1-all draw. But just to spend a minute on this, Kevin, I want to ask you, how do you think that would affect Indian Arrows ahead?
I think it's a big shock, it's a big blow to Indian Arrows. Yeah, if they were able to concede a few less goals, it was obviously because of Dheeraj's limited performance. I'm talking about the World Cup, because it would have been a disaster if it wasn't for Dheeraj Singh. And losing him, losing a player which is consistently just be in the backbone of their defense, because not just making saves, he was right there to manage the defense. He was right there to make sure that he is the one not allowing the goals to come in by using the defenders. I think his communication was key to even getting the formation, the shape that the team needed during the attacks. But obviously, you can't have somebody playing for you forever, and that is why a development side always has players whom we can look out for. So Sunny Dhaliwal will be the one who's stepping up, and I'm sure he must be as good as Dheeraj Singh, because even though Dheeraj was the first choice keeper, Sunny Dhaliwal was in the squad for the end of the 17 team. He did not get a chance. But I'm sure I think he can fill up the void left by him. Yes, it will be some time till we stop comparing him with Dheeraj's performances. But great promise ahead for Sunny as well.
Now, we also extend our wishes to Dheeraj. So I think he's gone to Motherwell club for trials, and there are many other rumors that even West Ham United are interested in him. But let's hope for a better future for the youngster, and let's hope that he'll see good heights in his football career. Now, Kevin, coming to you again, we have a new year here, and a lot of new things to look forward to in this whole season. Now, what are your expectations, and what are you looking forward to 2018 for Indian football?
2018, there are too many things to look forward to. I'll list like 5 things. First of all, we might see a record being set. Okay, another historic first for Indian football. A coach who gets fired without even losing a single match. That has a potential of happening. Mohan Bagan are playing Chennai City today. Sanjay Sen has been losing the support of the supporters and the team management over the way he has done things at Mohan Bagan, and apparently even Ashley Westwood is being talked about as a potential replacement. So he has to win against Chennai City. Otherwise, there's a good chance even if he gets a draw and Mohan Bagan stay unbeaten, he will get sacked. So that's one. Second would be what happens with the merger. Let's see. There's a chance they will delay it even further, because there is no way around the one city one club rule that they have in place right now. That idiotic rule which lets ATK claim exclusivity over the city of Kolkata. It's obviously East Bengal and Mohan Bagan are not going to agree to leave Kolkata to play their home matches, and ATK will not even accept monetary compensation, because they know they're surviving because of a monopoly. They even had to rent their away fans in Mumbai and create a optical illusion of a full stadium in the last home game, where they strategically placed flags on top of the bucket seats, which from a distance looked like this crowd over there, while it was mostly empty. So they know that they're in a desperate situation, and if they let East Bengal and Mohan Bagan play against them directly, they will lose further fans. So they're not going to agree to anything. which puts us in a situation where ISL and I-League may continue in a split way till 2019, and apparently IMG Reliance are already asking AFC FIFA for one more year so that this rule can be out of the way, and they can just go for a straight up inclusion of East Bengal and Mohun Bagan. This does not mean, I mean, for East Bengal and Mohun Bagan that's bad news, but who knows, having one more season for Aizawl FC and Shillong Lajong and Neroka and Minerva Punjab at the top division may help them develop further. I mean, Minerva Punjab just got 4-5 good sponsors. Aizawl FC are increasing in popularity. They are probably going to get better sponsors. Who knows, in 2019, we might see some of these I-League clubs able to negotiate with IMG Reliance that we can get into ISL. Maybe they will be able to avoid relegation if they get one more season at the top division. We are yet to see what kind of impact Aizawl FC playing in Asia does to their brand value and everything. So all of these things are happening. Third would be the Champions Cup, because I think now that we have given up on Pot 2 qualification for Asian Cup, it's necessary for India to play tough opponents, and the best platform for that would be the Champions Cup in August. You would expect like at least two good teams who are ranked way higher than us to come to India and play against India, so that not only we get some tough practice ahead of the Asian Cup, we also get some tough love before we go to play the SAF Championship in Bangladesh. So all of that, looking really forward to it. Fourth is Super Cup. We will see ISL and I-League clubs competing against each other in a competitive tournament. It's not what it would be after merger, because then everything would be in an even playing field. They would not have one competition monopolizes the transfer market through draft kind of a situation. Right now ISL teams have all the advantage, which will not be there after the merger. So, but it will. I think that cup tournament will give us a lot of surprises, which will set the next season up, whether we have a merger or not. And the fifth would be some major restructuring in our major I-League clubs. Like I want to see powers change hands. I want to see East Bengal and Mohun Bagan appoint professional CEOs. I want them to appoint just dedicated ground staff. They already have it, but they need more qualified people in there. They need better dressing rooms. They need broadcast centers in their stadium. They need to upgrade their infrastructure and become more professional ahead of the merger, if they can, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I think our listeners will be surprised that Chiranjeev's top 5 was dominated by Kolkata. Clubs from Kolkata.
I mentioned, I think the major point I mentioned was, Shillong Lajong, Aizawl FC, Neroka, Minerva Punjab, and Gokulam Kerala.
Right.
These clubs, if they get one more season at the top division, they might be in a position to bid for an ISL place. So you should take that away. Yeah.
Now, since he's mentioned in other points as well, Kevin, now I'm coming to you. What are you expecting of 2018, minus the clubs from Kolkata?
I was never going to be talking about Kolkata anyways. So, for me, the major lookout is the focus that we started last year. It's the youth of India, and that's what I always look forward to. We already seen.
That's a coach. That's a talk from coach.
And we've seen already, that one glimpse. We've seen the youngest goal scorer in the I-League. It was Bodo last year, and this season it's Jitendra, I believe. So it's there for your taking. When you have a development side that's scoring a few goals, they're scoring beautiful goals, by the way. They're just scoring. And,
that Nongdom Banaurim goal could be the goal of the season easily in Indian football.
So that's the entire focus that I have. I'm slowly shifting, from my focus from Shillong Lojong. Obviously, I love their model. To looking at Indian idols, how they are, and for that same reason, I'm very keen to see this Indian side perform for the national level. That's obviously under 18 and under 19. I am going to be closely watching their development, because this is a moment where this project was revived in a point that we are talking about youth football in a way that everybody is wanting to get near towards the youth of the team, not just your experienced foreigners. And this is what is going to be taking us forward. Youth football is the key and this focus in this year.
Yeah, well, I think everybody made their points. But one point that I am looking forward to is, of course, both touched upon the ISL I-League. We will see some surprises ahead, but I'm even looking at the draw that's going to happen for the Asian Cup that's going to be held in 2019. Before that, we play Kyrgyzstan away. I think Chiranjeev will be ready to pack his bags and the national team play there.
Always has one bag ready. Whatever the occasion, he just got one bag ready.
I'm at home. I'm at Purulia. I think I got to celebrate New Year's with my parents for the first time in 3-4 years, and I'm happy with that. But yes, my bag is still packed. I think in a couple of days I'll head to Kolkata, because ISL FC is visiting Kolkata. You have Mohun Bagan versus ISL FC in Mohun Bagan.
Yeah, okay, again. Fine, Chiranjeev, you're done with Kolkata. Let me make that point now. That's one thing, like I said, because I'm really looking forward to 2019, the UAE trip, to support Indian national team, and many other things happening for this year. That brings us to the end of the show. Now, here's to making some more new memories and new adventures, and a lot of hoping for a lot of good things. I mean, let's not hope, let's believe that there will be good times ahead, and we will get, at the end of 2018 also, we're talking about a great season that Indian football had. And here's to you, all the fans listening to us. Thank you so much for your love and words of appreciation, and also words of criticism that comes across. We'll definitely try and improve on them and get better by each day. Now that's all, guys. Wishing once again everyone a happy New Year, blessed year ahead, and that's all. You can follow us. The usual things I keep saying. I think this is the one thing that won't change, irrespective of how many New Years coming. Do follow us on TFG Football, so you get updates of all the everything happening in football, including the 2 matches that we have in I-League. The live updates. Like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let us know your thoughts about the 2017 as a whole in the comment section below. You can also talk to us directly on Twitter about the same and more. PNG Goja Boza Mr. Florence 1994. Have a great day, folks. Enjoy.
That was Tantric Steve from Hansraj College, Delhi, performing at IIT Bombay's Mood Indigo. Just like them, there's a lot of new talent and art coming out of colleges all across India, but unfortunately most of this goes completely unnoticed or ignored. To fix this, we started atkt.in. Hi, I'm Ankur, I'm a musician and a rapper, and I found that one of the best things about being an artist myself is finding new talent. Through atkt.in, Tanya, my colleague who's a dancer, and our whole team really is putting all of our efforts into discovering and promoting all the coolest talent that's coming out of colleges all across India. And this goes up on our website, our social media, TV, radio, and now, of course, this podcast with IVM. Make sure you go to our website, support the talent with your likes, your shares, your comments. All of that really matters. Go ahead, check it out. atkt.in.
एक्सक्यूज मी भैया, एक्सक्यूज मी।
बोलिए मैडम।
मेन्यू में क्या है?
मेन्यू में सीन अनसीन है, पॉडकास्ट है, ऑन कोर्स है, साइरस है, मेड इन इंडिया, रीडिस्कवरी प्रोजेक्ट, एम्पावरिंग सीरीज, सेक्स वैक्स है, IVM लाइक्स है, सिंप्लीफाइड है, कीपिंग इट क्वियर है, थिंग्स एंड डेस्टिनेशंस है, माय नेबर सकरबर्ग है और द फैन गराज है। आपको क्या चाहिए?
एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
रिपीट नहीं करता हम। आप जाओ IVMpodcast.com पे और सुनो ये सब, या फिर डाउनलोड करो उनका ऐप, सब आपकी उंगलियों पे।